Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the newsroom. This is Omar, Khalid, and today we've got lots to discuss with you. So without further ado, let's highlight what we are going to discuss during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the situation as far as Afghanistan, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and of course the security situation that has been created by the terrorist outfits that are infiltrating into Pakistani territories from Afghanistan is concerned. The meeting has been convened to reopen the Torkham crossing, but this meeting apparently has been inconclusive at the moment. Why is that happening? We all know what happened as far as the Torkham border crossing is concerned. We did discuss it last week as well. We also know what happened in Chitral and the influx of terrorist outfits that created the situation in Chitral. Of course, our armed forces were vigilant enough to thwart the attempts by these forces. The Foreign Office has also released a statement saying that Pakistan expects Kabul to respect its territorial integrity. Will Kabul, in fact, respect those territorial integrities, as has been enhanced time and time again, reiterated by the Afghan side, starting from the first address to the media by the interim foreign minister of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. This is going to be our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, today concerns the Khalistan movement that has gained momentum. We've been highlighting how there have been different referendums concerning Khalistan in different parts of the world. Now over 135,000 Canadian Sikhs have cast their votes in Canada. The Khalistan referendum has thus gained a new record and a new momentum. Tens of thousands did turn up as far as this Khalistan referendum is concerned. Is that going to create a new era as far as India is concerned, Bharat is concerned, Hindustan is concerned? Will there be a new state of Khalistan emerging in the next couple of months or years? This is something that we are going to try to decipher and discuss in our second story. Then we are going to talk about the abaya ban that has been reinforced in France as we speak. The French President Emmanuel Macron has announced it. In fact, his government has announced last month that it is banning the abaya and kameez. This is also a kameez is a long suit, loose-fitting garment worn by some Muslim men. Kameez, otherwise, if you want to understand it better. Now, the fact remains that there had been various outbursts when the abaya ban had been enforced for the first time. Many international organizations had highlighted this, but now the France's top administrative court has upheld the government ban on the wearing of traditional abaya. And our final story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the 75th death anniversary of our Qaid, your Qaid, the Qaid of all Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that is being observed with solemnity today. Quran Khani and of course Fatiha Khani was held all across Pakistan to give due reverence to the leader, the Qaid of our country, who managed to carve out a state for the Muslims of the subcontinent. And we are ever so grateful for his hard work, for his passion, for his zeal to create Pakistan. Let's begin with our first story, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns the Pakistan-Afghan terror threat that continues to create a dent as far as Pakistan-Afghanistan relations are concerned. We've seen what happened in Chitral, we've seen what happened at the Torkham border. A meeting on the Torkham border remained inconclusive. What is basically the mindset as far as Afghanistan is concerned? Is it really genuine in its intention to not only highlight but to create an environment of harmony between its country and the country that has helped it in the last few decades? More in the following report.
Decades-long fight against terrorism is entering a critical phase as the nation stands firm against resurgent terror threat emanating from Afghanistan. The country has witnessed an uptick in terror activities in recent months, especially in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, after the TTP ended its ceasefire with the government in November last year. In a major operation, 7 terrorists were killed and 6 critically injured by security forces in an exchange of fire in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Chitral district. According to ISPR, locals of the area appreciated the operation by security forces and expressed their full support to eliminate the menace of terrorism from the country. The operation had come in the wake of latest terror attack on 2 military posts in the Lower Chitral district, in which at least 4 security men had embraced martyrdom, while more than 16 terrorists were killed as militants' attempts to enter Pakistan from Afghanistan were foiled by troops deployed along the border with Afghanistan. A report released in July by the think tank Pakistan Institute for Conflict and Security Studies said the first half of current year witnessed a steady and alarming rise in terror and suicide attacks, claiming lives of 389 people across the country. It's pertinent to mention here that the interim Afghan government is expected to fulfill its obligations and deny the use of Afghan soil by terrorists for perpetuating acts of terror against Pakistan.
Brigadier Babar Alauddin, senior analyst, joins us online. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. When you look at what is happening across Afghanistan, through Afghanistan, in whether it be the infiltration of terrorist outfits, whether it be the incident at the Torkham border, whether it be what happened at Chitral, how do you see this transnational threat that has been emanating from the Afghan side over the last few months and years?
Thank you very much for inviting me to discuss this very important issue. As we all have seen that in last time, there has been a lot of activity taking place on the border, especially certain activities, attacks by the TTP and its allied groups from Afghanistan to Pakistan, especially in Chitral, and then the incidents of cross-border firing at Torkham. These two important issues, and even a few incidents before that, clearly speak that all is not well as far as Afghan interim government is concerned and situation within Afghanistan is concerned. Now, Pakistan has very clearly, time and again, repeatedly asked the Afghan government to be responsible and address this issue of cross-border terrorism, which is not only threatening Pakistan, rather Pakistan has already experienced, has faced number of attacks from Afghanistan, and this is besides those incident of terrorism which has been taking place deep inside Pakistan, where Afghan nationals were involved. Just to quote examples of Zob incident about last month, and then incident of similar category in Peshawar, even Bajaur last month, with lot number of people lost their lives. Now, what happened in Chitral last week and again 2 days back, where the terrorists, mainly from they attacked Pakistani posts. Although Pakistan forces, Pakistan Army and paramilitary forces deployed there, respected very gallantly and not only pushed back these terrorists, killed number of them. But this is very clear that Afghanistan's soil is being used by these groups. Very, very clear, and they are using it blatantly to target Pakistan. Pakistan, on the other hand, has a number of times raised this issue with the Afghan interim government, officially calling them to control this situation. Unfortunately, Afghan interim government has been denying it. Their spokesperson have been denying it, despite the fact that Pakistan shared proofs with them, proof which cannot be denied. Now, under these situations, things will further if Afghan interim government will not address this issue. Pakistan has been showing restraint, lot of restraint, and restraint to the fact that even lot of frustration is now taking place in the minds of people, that why we are not reacting to these attacks by the people who are residing within Afghanistan. Their training camps are there. They are being pushed into Pakistan. So all said and done, it's a very, very serious situation.
Brigadier Saab, in all of this, in this serious situation that you so ably point towards, the fact remains, Brigadier Saab, that the responsibility of the Afghan interim government remains paramount. Does the Afghan interim government of the Afghan Taliban understand its responsibility? Is it willing to show that responsibility vis-a-vis actions, because you yourself say that these outfits are operating from within the Afghan territory, and nothing can happen without the Afghan interim government knowing about what is happening and knowing about these terror outfits. So how important does the whole responsibility of the Afghan interim government become under this current context?
As far as their willingness is concerned, now I think it's quite doubtful now, because they're in a denial mode. Once you're in a denial mode, you're not accepting the ground realities. So where does the willingness stand then? Because they're time and again saying that their soil is not being used. There have been very clear proofs with them. Now, Afghan interim government has to realize this is very, very important for them, that they're already isolated. They're isolated nobody in the world accepts this foreign interim government. Their naturally foreign exchange accounts, they're frozen, so they are already running short of money, they are short of resources. Pakistan in last about almost now 5 decades, more than 4 decades, has been out of the way helping Afghan people for their basic needs, despite all the opposition, against all odds, and Pakistan has suffered a lot. Even today, more than 1.5 million refugees are staying in Pakistan. There are a lot of complaints against these refugees also, because some of them are not only living illegally, they are involved in illegal, unlawful activities on Pakistani soil. This issue has also been raised by Pakistan with the Afghan interim government. Now, Pakistan is the only country in the entire world which even now speaks for the Afghanistan, for the people of Afghanistan. Pakistan's government, whether it is our permanent representative to UN or head of the states and government, even visiting New York, addressing the General Assembly, Security Council, or other world forum, have been calling upon the world community to look towards Afghanistan, don't isolate them, because it's going to be a human catastrophe. So what I actually mean to say is that on one side, this is the fact, this is the reality, that Pakistan is doing what all is possible for within its resources to highlight the issue of Afghanistan. While on the other hand, Afghan interim government's response, their attitude have been unfortunately very, very irresponsible. Our Foreign Office has very clearly yesterday given a statement, thereby once again calling Afghan interim government to fulfill the responsibility, because being an independent state, this is their responsibility. Whether their government is effective or not, either they should accept that they are not been able to control these militants and the terrorist organizations, which are almost around 20 now, or they should control them. Because what will happen next? Pakistan will, at least a day is going to come. I think it is not going to be very far off. Once then we'll take all possible extreme steps to safeguard our integrity, and we have to just look for our own national security. We just can't continue to see our people being targeted and giving lives, and innocent people being killed, and or we are just protesting or issuing statements. I think now it's high time now Afghan interim government show it through deeds, not only words. First of all, they must accept this is a reality, and then they must act. If there are some issues in countering that, in doing what they are expected to do, then they can discuss it with the Pakistan's government. What happened in Torkham, it's not a normal thing, although these type of cross-border firing keep taking place in Chaman, in Torkham border, but this is something different. It's been almost a week time that this Torkham border is closed, and what does Pakistan say? It's very easy, very simple. Pakistan says that it is not going to allow any structure to be constructed on our soil, because we are a sovereign state. We can't just allow it. Now, Afghanistan's government is bent upon constructing that post, which is supposed to be within our area, Pakistan's boundary, and then fire takes place. Certain people reportedly lost their lives also. The Afghan government, they are suffering mainly because their economy depends upon Pak-Afghan trade. Their trucks are lined up on towards both sides of the border. Their people are suffering. They have to realize Pakistan doesn't want to do it. Pakistan is not doing happily. Pakistan has been compelled to do it. But this time, our government is very, very clear that until Afghan government takes the responsibility, acts, this is not going to be like it has been happening in the past. It's high time now, because enough is enough.
All right. I'd like to also understand, Brigadier Babar Alauddin, about this increase in such terror activities that Pakistan has been witnessing in the last few months, which also shows another thing, that these militants, these national or international insurgents that have been creating instability in Pakistan have enough logistical and financial support to sustain their operations. Where are these operational, logistical, financial support coming from? Is it coming from Afghanistan? Is it coming from other regional or global, I wouldn't say partners, but partners of these terror outfits that want to, give these terror outfits the ability to destabilize Pakistan?
Of course, they are being supported. This support is coming. This is a fact. this support is coming from within Afghanistan. I don't say right now that Afghan interim government is supporting them, but this support is coming within from Afghanistan. There are many warlords still active in Afghanistan. Then this poppy crop, they're earning money from that also. Then there have been reports that Indians are supporting certain factions just to target Pakistan. Then there have been reports with proofs that once the Americans were withdrawing, they left a lot of weapons and equipment which fell into the hands of these groups. They are using those weapons and equipment. Then all this illegal trade, smuggling, which is taking place on Pak-Afghan border, money which is being collected from there is also being used by groups. Then there are certain organizations worldwide because money is coming through them also, because ISIS is not only Afghanistan-based organization. Al-Qaeda is not only Afghanistan-based organizations. So there are organizations which are operating in certain other parts of the world also. Since in Afghanistan they have safe havens, so they may be feeling more comfortable here. So money is coming. There is no denying the fact. This money has to be stopped. And again, in order to stop this money, Afghanistan's government has to be more responsible, because this is their foremost responsibility to at least stop all those resources, all that money which is being used, given to these groups from within Afghanistan, as I've already indicated, highlighted. And since Pakistan's government in last about 2 weeks time has taken some very stringent measures as far as illegal trade, smuggling is concerned. So I hope that from that angle, they're going to be not very easy for them to get money from these resources, but other international channels. And because FATF, once it came to Pakistan, they're very strict. How come this money is still being given to these groups and they are operating? It's not a very difficult thing. It's not a rocket science. People know there have been reports given to the United Nations Security Council, General Assembly, where all these channels have been highlighted within these reports. So the world knows, international community knows, all those organizations at the international level which are dealing with it, they know it. The only thing is that now it has to be actually done on ground, because most important thing, nobody should forget, it's not only Pakistan which is being targeted. Today, we're suffering the burden
that we know, Brigadier Sahab, because in this day and age, when something happens to Pakistan, with the number of terror outfits that are present within the Afghan soil, other countries are also going to be affected in the long run, whether it be China or other regional states. The fact also remains that we still remember what happened in 2011 with all the major spate of attacks coming from the Afghan side. What needs to be done now in 2023 in order to embolden to kind of strengthen our border forces, our border areas, to have a befitting response in case any such incident happens in the future?
Arrangements on border is concerned, our Pakistan Army and Civil Armed Forces, maybe FC on both in KPK and Balochistan and law enforcement agencies, they are doing whatever maximum possible. There still remains some room, because room for improvement is always there. They're taking measures. The border has been fenced, although it's not very easy to fence this border. This fence has to be actually really physically monitored. It has to be physically kept under observation, just to ensure that nobody crosses this fence. Then locals of the area, especially towards our side of the border, they have to be taken on board, because they have to be they have to be told that this threat is not only for Pakistan or Pakistan's security forces. This threat is for them also, because if they don't stop, these people are going to be a problem for rest of the country and all these neighboring areas and bordering areas. So security forces, armed forces of Pakistan, they are doing it. They're further doing it. Certain gaps are being plugged, as you must have seen on certain reports that in Chitral reinforcements have gone in. So whatever possible as far as the protection and securing this border is concerned, that is being done with the troops being deployed, an obstacle being laid, intelligence network being strengthened, sharing information, coordination between various elements of the security forces, maybe intelligence and those people who are actually doing it on ground. That is being done, but you can't be 100% sure because it's a very treacherous terrain. It's not that difficult to cross this border from various areas in small numbers because no matter what type of obstacles you have, security forces, army is doing its best. Hope so. With these measures, the number of incidents are going to be decreased. They're going to be very effectively countered. But unless they're stopped within Afghanistan, these sanctuaries are denied to them. These training camps are dismantled, and they are stopped there. Their movement, their independence of moving from one place to another place is denied. Logistical chains are broken. Money is stopped. Unlike all these actions are taken, which are to be taken by the Afghan interim government, this thing is not and cannot only be handled by Pakistan. We can fight. We are fighting. We are just doing whatever possible. Inshallah, they'll not be able to achieve what they probably have in their mind. But a permanent solution lies action by the Afghan government. And as you have already very amply highlighted, it's not only Pakistan. The threat is going to be worldwide again.
Exactly.
And before it
more
happens,
regional and more important regional players are going to be affected by it if it is not controlled at this time, especially by a major contribution from the Afghan side, as you have highlighted. This terror threat that you are seeing now since the last couple of months, do you feel it is more ideologically diverse, and do you feel we have sufficient understanding of this new form of terror threat that is emanating from Afghanistan since the last few months?
This is diverse as far as the number of incidents is concerned. This is diverse as far as their pattern is concerned. As if we compare it with the past, the cause, their motivation was a bit different about 2 years back once the Americans were there, when the NATO forces were operating there. Now they do not have any logic, any reason. It's totally terrorism. It's nothing else. There can't be any sort of jihad. There cannot be any reason for that. You can't give it any cause. So it's only terrorism. And since, again, I would say, since these groups have basically they've joined together, as I said, around 20 of them, they have nothing to do within Afghanistan. Previously, they were reportedly fighting against the NATO forces and Americans. Now, the Americans are not there. So they have to, just some justification for their existence. So they have chosen a target that is to come and attack Pakistan on the behest of or enemies of Pakistan, because they have to live, they have to survive. All these outlaws, they are rejected elements of the society. They can't get back to the society. So they are there. They are carrying out these activities, and naturally, when they have a common cause, and common cause is just one, that is to create panic, just to harass people, attack Pakistan security forces, and all those forces, all those powers which are just funding them, giving them money, sitting back, they're very happy. But once they had some, even at that time, since I have a lot of experience in remaining in these areas, so even then the cause was not justified. But now it's absolutely unjustified. So I would say it's only terrorism and nothing else.
It's only terrorism and nothing else. Thank you so very much, Brigadier Retired Babar Alauddin Saab, senior expert, to have joined us. And of course, the fact also remains that the onus of responsibility, the major onus of responsibility remains on the Afghan side, as Brigadier Saab has pointed out. And the fact also remains that things have to move in a very rapid pace, not just like those comments that have been made way back in 2021 by Mr. Amir Muttaqi that the Afghan soil will not be used against any neighboring country. We are in 2023 and the Afghan soil is being used against other countries, especially against Pakistan. Time for Afghanistan to stand on its 2 feet and do the needful. Let's come to our second segment, and that concerns the referendum. As far as Khalistan is concerned, it has been happening across the world, different European countries, in the United Kingdom and also in Canada. Again, another round of referendum was held in Canada, in which tens of thousands of people participated. What is the future of this Khalistan referendum? More in the following report.
Indian assault on democratic values and civil liberties continues, and minorities are being persistently hounded under Narendra Modi government. For decades, Indian Sikhs have demanded that an independent nation called Khalistan be carved in the state of Punjab for followers of the minority faith. As Sikhs have come under attack from hardline Hindutva supporters in India, Khalistan movement is gaining momentum. More than 135,000 Canadian Sikhs cast their votes in the Khalistan Referendum for the ultimate creation of Khalistan, a free and sovereign homeland for millions of Sikhs scattered around the world. Organized by the US-based Sikhs for Justice (SFJ) group, Khalistan Referendum's voting campaign started in October 2021 in the UK, and so far the voting has been held in over a dozen European capitals. The previous highest turnout was in Canada's Brompton 5 months ago, but the participation of over 135,000 Sikhs at the Surrey, BC at the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara broke all previous records. Pro-Khalistan Sikh community leaders firmly believe that India cannot stifle their voices, noting an exceptional tenfold increase in the community's dedication to freedom, particularly among the youth, following Hardeep Singh Nijjar's assassination 3 months ago by the suspected Indian agents.
We've been joined by Mr. Manpreet Singh Khalsa, General Secretary of the World Sikh Parliament. Thank you very much, Mr. Khalsa, to have joined us. Mr. Khalsa, first of all, how did this Khalistan referendum in Canada go, the latest phase of that? We've seen that happening in the last few years in so many different cities, around more than 24 cities worldwide. How have you seen the voter turnout? How has the response been? Mr. Khalsa, can you hear us? Okay, we're trying to get hold of Mr. Manpreet Singh Khalsa. He's the General Secretary of the World Sikh Parliament. As soon as we get hold of him, we'll be, of course, asking him the relevant questions. In the meantime, more than 135,000 Canadian Sikhs have cast their vote in the Khalistan referendum for the ultimate creation of Khalistan. This referendum has been organized by the US-based Sikhs for Justice group, and the Khalistan referendum voting campaign, of course, as we told you in the very beginning, started way back in the month of October in 2021 in the United Kingdom, and so far this voting has been held in more than a dozen European capitals. The previous highest turnout was in Canada's Brompton 5 months ago, but the participation of over 135,000 Sikhs at Surrey, BC at the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara has broken all the previous records. I think have been now joined by Manpreet Singh Khalsa. He's the General Secretary of the World Sikh Parliament. Mr. Khalsa, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now very well.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I hope, Mr. Khalsa, you are fine. Well, first of all, Mr. Khalsa, how do you see the voter turnout in all these new phases of the referendum for the creation of Khalistan across more than 24 cities across the world, the latest being in Canada?
Very positively, and I must say that we are so very overwhelmed by the response that we've received in BC in Canada, because it was very important for us to test the water there. You know, allegedly they killed one of our greatest soldiers of all time, Mr. Nijjar, and on that particular land where they tried to frighten us, where they tried to celebrate the killing of one of our martyrs of modern times, Mr. Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the response that we've received from people, the response that we've received from Sikhs, the response we've received from Punjabis, they have made a statement. It's such a symbolic victory for us. Over 100,000 people just participating in that region, it just tells a lot. And so many people couldn't even vote. So we are going for a second round there very soon. So this just tells you how people are reacting to their freedom movement, how people are reacting to this new mean of achieving freedom, which is a referendum, which is obviously we are doing this under full guidelines from the United Nations, though it's a non-binding referendum, but we are doing everything very legitimately. So it can be recorded, it can be submitted to the UN to represent the will of the Sikh nation to have their own independent state.
All right. Now, the SFJ Council General, Mr. Gurpatwant Singh Pannam, has told a huge crowd and has held responsible the Indian diplomats in Canada, Indian intelligence agencies, Ajit Doval, Amit Singh, and Narendra Modi in the killing of Hardeep Nijjar. Are you going to contact important judicial organizations, national and international, in that regard?
100%. We are already in talks to all of these different human rights organizations. The way they celebrated it on Indian media was basically, it was very close to like taking the responsibility for this killing, because they were celebrating it on their news channels day and night. The way they were celebrating Mr. Panjwar's murder, the way they were celebrating Avatar Singh Khanda's alleged murder, the way they were celebrating Hardeep Singh Nijjar's murder. It's all a very grave cause of concern. I mean, but clearly, they have, if it is done by them, which most likely it is, they have clearly failed in taking this ambition away from us. You know, they've clearly failed. Especially, I hope they get this answer from this latest referendum episode done in BC. They get the answer that they cannot really take this away from us. All the people are well aware. Everybody, every single Sikh boy and girl is up for the freedom now, and it will be very hard for them to defeat us psychologically anymore.
All right, Mr. Manpreet, you also, I mean, it has been highlighted that there has been more than tenfold increase in the number of Sikhs who have participated in this referendum. What do you attribute this huge increase in the voter turnout to? Is it because of this desire for the independent homeland for the Sikhs that are in different parts of the world and that want a different homeland for their community, or is it some other reason as well? We see a lot of participation by the youth recently as well. What do you attribute that to?
Omar, it's a clear sign, you know, they should know that we are Punjabi. You know, the more you suppress us, the more active we get, the more adamant we get. And that's what this whole response is all about. You kill one or two of us, it's not going to diminish our craving for our own nation. It's not going to take this dream away from us. We're very much into it, and everybody, regardless of the age, regardless of the experience, everybody by now knows that it won't be possible for us to live safely in India. So we need to have our own nation. It's not just a dream anymore. It's the need of time. And hopefully, I think after this wishy-washy G20 thing that they have done, hopefully I would expect the Western countries to take up some humanitarian responsibility and investigate the crimes of India on an international law judicial level. You know, I mean, don't just leave things to the Indian corrupt judicial system, because we will never get any sort of justice from it. We've seen it time and again. What happened in Kashmir, what happened in Gujarat, what happened in Punjab. We don't expect anything from Indian government now. We will have to lay our own path, and then hopefully one day these Western countries will agree with us once they're done with their transactional arrangements with India. And right now they need India maybe for labor or something, but then one day will come when this transaction will no more be lucrative to them, and then maybe one day they will realize what they owe to the humanity, what they owe to the international law, and then they will possibly speak more in our favor.
All right, Mr. Manpreet, looking at India since Operation Blue Star in 1984, we have seen various incidents that have targeted the Sikh community. Of late, since the Narendra Modi government has come into power, we've seen many such incidents that have tried to marginalize the Sikh community. What are the efforts that the Sikhs across the world are trying to make, apart from the referendum for Khalistan, to highlight the atrocities or to highlight the pressure tactics that the Indian government has been perpetrating on the Sikh community?
Yes, there are so many other efforts going on. So if I have to name a few, for example, World Sikh Parliament is leading a massive lobbying campaign within American states. And in the last couple of years, we were successful getting passed around 15 different resolutions, relating to Sikh issues in the city of Connecticut, in the city of Mississauga, Ottawa. There's so many other cities that we have basically targeted within the North American region. On the other hand, we are trying to lobby with European nations like Germany, like Netherlands, and we've had some positive response. Because India from day one has raised reservation against Article 1, which is the bedrock principle for self-determination in the United Nations Charter. They've also raised reservation against genocide. Like, for example, I'll give you one example. They still haven't criminalized genocide in Indian Penal Code. So basically, we're trying to lobby with different governments. There are efforts being held in terms of hiring lobbying firms and building some sort of support with local MPs, local statesmen, local congressmen and senators. We are doing all sort of those things. Some of them you see on the ground, and some of them, it's as if there is a slow progress with it. But we are at it, and we will hopefully get successful at it. And then the other thing is we are trying to trying to open dialogue with different kind of NGOs, who work in human rights violation sector, and they deal with different torture, different tortures which are getting done in the Indian subcontinent. So we are very much in talks with all those NGOs, and nevertheless to say, we are in talks with the United Nations on different aspects. We are not just highlighting the genocide and the self-determination movement. We are also highlighting the econocide they are imposing upon Punjab, stealing our water resources and putting Punjab into a debt trap. So we are also highlighting all these things to different departments of United Nations. So we are doing all of this as a community. Yes, some of them are low-lying fruits, and you can see the achievements, but some of them, they will get paid off one day.
All right, Mr. Manpreet, I'd like to understand this BJP's Hindutva doctrine. It has, rendered India unsafe, not only for the Sikh community, but also for other minorities, for example, Muslims, for example, the Christians, Dalits, and so many others. We've seen so many Sikh people from the Sikh community who have, gone to other places in the world and have taken residence in all of those countries. But the spirit of the Khalistan movement continues to, burn brighter. What are the salient features of this Khalistan movement as envisioned by the Sikh community?
So, this Khalistan movement is basically, it's rooted from the betrayal of the Indian system to the Sikhs. What we were promised and what we were given, there is absolutely a polar distance between these two things. And what they have done with us after they got independence, and you can see the 1984 genocide, the Operation Blue Star, and the fake encounters and everything, and the list goes on. We are, at one hand, documenting all these atrocities and taking as I said earlier, taking this to different governments and NGOs. But on the other hand, the self-determination movement, this world, this 21st century is all about self-determination. If you see all across the globe, referendums are happening, new nations being created. All we are trying to do is to actually raise awareness worldwide at the minute. There is a large media campaign in favor of Khalistan. Now, you must have noticed that wherever referendum happens, they give demarches, they hand over, demarches and spoil their bilateral relationships with nearly every country over Khalistan referendum now. Now, this clearly tells you that we are now on the table in some respects. And with this growing sort of motion for Khalistan is going to get bigger and bigger. And hopefully, at some point, we will be having some transactional value, and that will be the time when we actually negotiate. So our this self-determination movement is not just confined to a few points now. Our generations who were not even born at the time of genocide, many younger people, including myself, we've not seen those days, but we've heard those days. And we are absolutely adamant that there is no other choice for Sikh community rather than exercises their basic human right of self-determination, their basic political will to have their own nation. And we are fully entitled to that because we had it one time, and it's just a result of very wishy-washy decolonization. And where we've reached today is all we have is, we are trying to fight the demon of this Indian state, what they've done to us, econocide, genocide, and everything. We're just fighting back, but we're fighting back with a spirit, and we're adamant that this is not just a dream. It is a reality, and it will be a reality very soon.
All right, final question. If you just look at Canada, there are around 750,000 people from the Sikh community that reside there. And of course, we've seen the turnout at the referendum, and it has been phenomenal. How is that going to affect other referendums that are going to take part in other parts of the world?
I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. India always used to say we are a fringe group. They always used to say they are a handful of people. And now they've got the answer. We're not the handful. The whole community wants it. Everybody wants it. From a 5-year-old to a 102-year-old, everybody wants it. So they need to realize and smell some coffee here. What have they been preaching to their people? What have they been telling to their people is a bunch of lies. And I'm telling you one more thing. It's not just encouraging Sikhs to take part and to vote for Khalistan Referendum in different parts of the world. It is actually encouraging other communities to start their own referendums within India as well. So, I mean, they're gonna get back what they've done to the people. They will get back, and the result will be a proper fragmentation of India into various parts. It's not just Kashmir or Khalistan. There will be other parts who will be seeking independence very soon. So it's not just confined to us. What they have done to Muslims, to Sikhs, to Christians, to other minorities, to Dalits, to all these native peoples, what they have done to them is going to get back onto them one day. And now the people are educated. Now the people know the means, how to raise a voice, how to get that across into the international community. So the result will be phenomenal. It's going to take a while, but it's looking very positive.
And of course, the movement is there, Mr. Manpreet. We see the number of people who are participating. There is a will, there is a determination, there is a zeal, there is a fervor by the Sikh community across the world to carve out that place that has been long time a demand from the Sikh community for a very, very long time, and that is Khalistan. We wish you all the very best, and we'll of course be talking to you in the near future as well. Thank you very much, Manpreet Singh Khalsa,
Secretary
of Sikh Parliament, to have joined us on the phone and to have highlighted all the efforts that are being made by the Sikh community for the creation of Khalistan, especially through this referendum for the Khalistan and its creation. Let's come to our last two stories. The first story concerns the abaya ban that had been put into place by France. Now, the French President Emmanuel Macron's government has last month announced that it is banning not only the abaya but also the kameez, which is being used by the men folk. And there was a lot of opposition when this ban first was imposed. Action for the Rights of Muslims, that is an association representing Muslims, filed a motion with the State Council to seek an injunction against the ban, saying it was discriminatory and could incite hatred against the Muslims. This said, France's top administrative court has now upheld a government ban on the wearing of the traditional abaya. The government has not, the ban has not, as the council added, caused serious or obviously illegal harm to the respect for personal lives, freedom of religion, the right to education, the well-being of children, or the principle of non-discrimination. As a result of it, nearly 300 schoolgirls did defy the ban, refused to remove their abayas on the first day of the French school year. This week, most agreed to change the garments, 67 refused and were sent back home. The fact remains that the abaya issue, as far as France is concerned, has been a long-standing one. Will there be some kind of a solution as far as this is concerned? Because of course the number of Muslims or the Muslim community in France is quite consequential, quite important. So will France heed? Will France continue with its ban? Only time will tell. But for the moment, it continues to stay or uphold this ban as far as the abaya or the kameez is concerned. Last story concerns the 75th death anniversary of our father of the nation, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Whenever I think of our Quaid, I think of his three principles of unity, faith and discipline that in this day in 2023 also hold as much importance as it did way back in 1947. It is because of his untiring efforts, his zeal, his passion to create or to carve out a nation for the Muslims of the subcontinent that has today, in this day and age, for people like myself, like all of us, all of you who are watching, who are in Pakistan, we can heave a sigh of relief and can exercise our rights because we live in a country that we can call our own, all because of the efforts of this man, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, our Quaid, your Quaid, the Quaid of Pakistan. Always remember him and remember his services, remember his passion, remember the work that he has done to create, to carve out Pakistan, and we need to follow in his principles. I hope people understand just these three words: unity, faith and discipline. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you tomorrow, of course, with new stories and segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Till then, Allah Hafiz.